Okay, so I impulsively cut bangs. If you've been on my channel for a long time, you know I'm really bad at impulsively cutting bangs. I used to do it all the time, even though I hated them. So I cut bangs. I don't know how I feel yet, but they're here and they're staying because I can't get rid of them. I've already tried to push them aside. I can't do it. So I have bangs. We're gonna move on. Hey y'all, I am back and today we're reading more police ghost stories. I'm sick right now, so I don't know how many stories I'm gonna be able to get through, but typically with these types of videos, I only read 1 or 2 stories because these are really long. So I'm gonna read the first story. We'll see how I'm feeling. And then maybe we'll read a second story, but I don't know, might be a short video. But hopping right into it, this story says, When the Past Returns. While on duty one night, when I was a young policeman, I was instructed to get to a residence for a 5150. I knew that a 5150 meant someone at the residence was having some sort of psychiatric issue and needed assistance. I quickly turned on the flashing lights and the siren and headed to the residence. When I arrived, I began quickly walking up the sidewalk when an elderly woman stepped out of the door. She appeared frantic and filled with worry and concern. I asked her who she was, and she stated that she was the owner of the residence. After telling the woman my name, she began to tell me about her son. She stated that he was addicted to drugs and must have just used too much or some bad drug. I could tell she was trying to stay calm, but she was having a difficult time. I had to quickly assess the situation to make sure that she was not the one that needed my help. I took my time to calm her down and gently asked her to tell me again what was happening. She again stated that her son was on some type of drugs and seemed to be seeing things. Nothing she tried was helping to convince him that he was not seeing what he claimed. She explained to me that each time her son tried to walk into his own room, he could see there was an old man hanging from the ceiling. The man is wearing an old military uniform from World War II. I went over and sat down with the younger man and asked him to tell me what happened. He looked me in the face and said, "I cannot go into my room. There's an old man wearing a World War II uniform that is hanging from my ceiling." I could tell the man was higher than a kite, but that did not mean he was crazy. I thought quickly how the mother could be correct. It may be a bad drug. I watched him closely and listened to how he was talking. The guy who actually lives here told me I should not go into the room. I quickly looked at his mom. She shrugged her shoulders and told me, "It's just the 2 of us who live here. My husband has passed on." I looked back at the son, who was visibly shaken. I could not help but begin to believe him as he said, "The spirit who lives here told me not to enter my bedroom. He told me that his father is hanging from the ceiling." It was at this time I stood up and walked towards the room. I hesitated before opening the door, unsure of what I would see when I did open it. As I entered, I slowly looked around the room, at the ceiling, behind the doors, and even in the closet. I did not see what the young man was seeing. Just then, I heard a voice that scared the crap out of me. I was not expecting to hear anyone as I entered the room, and since there was no one in the room with me, I admit I did jump. The voice I heard belonged to another police officer, a veteran. I relaxed when I realized he was there with me. The officer told me that when he heard the address over the radio, he knew he had to come. He had recalled how years ago, when he was just starting his career in law enforcement, he had been ordered to go to a call at the same residence. The officer asked me to tell him what I knew so far, so I did. The owner of the home called in for help with her son. He's a drug user, but she's concerned that it was a drug laced with something that should not be there, and he was seeing things. Upon talking to the son, this is what he told me. I was told by the spirit who lives in the room that I could not enter. The spirit told me that it is his father hanging from the noose. At this time, both the older police officer and I look around the ceiling again, as he put his arm on my shoulder and stated, "When I came on a similar call to this residence many years ago, it was because an elderly gentleman had dressed in his World War II uniform and proceeded to hang himself with a noose from the ceiling. This occurred in the same room." I did think that maybe this veteran officer was just giving me a hard time, trying to scare me, but I knew him well enough to know that a poker face was not something he was good at. I looked him in the eyes and opened my mouth to say something. He squeezed my shoulder, and I knew then by the look in his eyes that he was telling me the truth. But how could this be? No one was seeing the old man hanging. No noose, no World War II uniform, nothing. Having no knowledge of this case from years ago, I could only believe what he said to be the truth. Is it possible there was a spirit in this home, in that room? The past case was certainly a sad one, but had the drugs affected the homeowner's son to the point of turning a memory into an actual event that only he could see? Was there maybe some otherworldly presence at work here? This would be a case to remember throughout his whole career. It was unexplainable to me and left me wondering how I was going to fill out the paperwork and log this into the system. What I can tell you is that I have no idea if there's any type of help that can be given to the son. Maybe he was on drugs due to what he was seeing. Okay, and that one was fairly short, so I can definitely get through another story, but that's insane. I want to know why only the son could see him. I need answers for that. Maybe it was the drugs, but that doesn't make any sense. Maybe it does make sense. Maybe I'm just stupid. Like, I don't know, I can't connect the dots. I don't understand. But that is unbelievable. Like, actually unbelievable. This next story says, a helping. As a 911 operator, you can't help but be nervous every time a new call is routed to you. These people are calling you at the worst moments of their lives, desperate for help. At best, you get people the help they need and help save a life in the process. At worst, there's nothing you can do. That helpless feeling is nothing short of excruciating. You take this type of job because you want to help people. Just after 2 a.m. can be one of the busiest times of the night, with us just getting calls about drunk driving accidents and alcohol-fueled violence. Intoxicated people also have a tendency to make false reports and hang up before we answer the phone. We have to be careful when we decide to send units to these calls because of the limited manpower available to respond in every situation. It was around 2:45 a.m. when I heard the familiar beep come through my headset, signaling I had been issued a call. I responded with my typical opening, 911, what is your emergency? Initially, I didn't hear a response from the other end of the line. In almost every instance, you can hear breathing or some sort of noise. In this case, there was only silence. A few seconds go by before our computers bring up the information for the phone number. Most calls we receive are made from cell phones. In these cases, we will get a screen telling us it's a mobile number unless they have called before and the operator has updated the information. This call was from a landline. The address was for a home that would take at best 20 minutes before anyone could get there, being it was located on the outskirts of the city limits. Still not having heard any response from the caller, I was concerned that someone might be in trouble, and for whatever reason, they couldn't speak. With most hang-up calls, they will disconnect the phone immediately after the call is connected. Although no noise was being directed through the speakers, the timer letting me know the phone was still connected continued to tick away. I repeated myself in case they didn't hear me. 911, what is your emergency? From the other end of the line came a burst of static that was loud enough to hurt my ears. The shock nearly caused me to rip my headset completely off, but before I did, I thought I heard the voice of a woman asking for help. Immediately, I leaned forward, ready to take down any information I could so I could relay anything pertinent to the responding officers. I heard a click in my ears. Looking up, I saw that the call timer was blinking, signaling the call had ended. Initially, my first instinct was to send officers and an ambulance to the address on the screen. But the more I thought about it, the more questions I had whether or not I was doing the right thing. With the loud noise, it was completely plausible that I had just been confused about hearing the woman's voice asking for help. We are trained that when in doubt, err on the side of caution. With this in mind, I sent a cruiser to check out the location. After dispatching the unit, I put myself back in the queue so the system would send me another call when my turn came. This particular night was slow when it came to calls coming in. Another 20 minutes passed before I received another call. Even before I could start speaking, the sound of somebody weeping filled my ears. There was no question it was a young female on the line with me from the sounds of it. Managing to calm her down takes a few minutes, but I managed to get from her that her mom had collapsed in the living room and wasn't moving. The call was coming in from a local cell phone, but no information came up on the computer. When I asked the girl where she lived, she rattled off an address that seemed oddly familiar to me. It took only moments before I realized it was the same address for the call that I had just received. I confirmed the address twice just to make sure I hadn't made a mistake, but both times she gave me the exact location. When I asked her if she or her mom had called a little while ago from their house phone, she insisted that this was the first call that had been made. Stranger still, she told me they didn't have a house phone, only cell phones. I assumed in her panicked state she was confused and thought if I was asking if she was calling on the house phone. I heard a loud knock on the door in the background and the girl tells me that the police were already there. Quickly they rushed the mother to the hospital with signs that she had experienced some sort of cardiac episode. The only thing that made sense to me was that the mother had experienced some chest pains and called in first, thinking that she was in trouble. Wanting to make sure someone hadn't gotten the wrong address, I brought up the call log for the call that had come before and dialed the number to make sure someone didn't need help. The phone didn't ring. The only thing I got was an automated recording that told me the number was either disconnected or no longer in service. This was the point I started to get freaked out. It didn't seem possible that I had received a call from a number that was disconnected that brought up a location for a house minutes before a woman had a heart attack. If that call hadn't been made, there was a good chance help wouldn't have arrived in time. Even when I went back to listen to the call, the static noise came through, but no woman's voice was picked up. To this day, I still have no idea how it happened, but that mother had someone looking out for her that night. That's crazy. That's crazy. These stories blow my mind. I don't know why. I've said this before and I'm gonna say it a million times. Hearing police ghost stories is strange because I wouldn't expect police officers to believe in the paranormal. I know I've said this a million times. I know I have. But they have so many opportunities to experience it. And so I'm just like, I love reading these. They're just so cool. That's all I'm gonna read for now actually because my throat's kind of killing me. I know those two stories were kind of short, but like together they make one long story and that's normally what I read. So it's fine, it's fine. I also don't know if you can tell the difference between my voice at the beginning versus now, but I'm slowly losing it. It's really bad. I don't have COVID, by the way. I got tested twice this week. I don't have COVID. I think I just have a cold. I thought I got COVID from going out on New Year's, and then I thought I got it from like I don't know what I don't know. I don't know where I thought I got it. But I thought I had COVID, but I don't. I tested negative, so I'm gonna go with that. I might test again, though, just to be safe. But I don't have COVID. Yeehaw. I have a cold. I don't know. But my throat really hurts, so I'm gonna go. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love y'all. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Also, I've gotten a lot of comments about this jacket because I've posted. Okay, so I streamed last week and then I also posted a picture of my hair with this jacket on Instagram and on Twitter. People were like, I love your jacket. This is the jacket. It's like a race jacket. I don't fucking know. It's from H&M. It was like 60 bucks, so it was kind of pricey, but it's from H&M. So it's not like it's from like Shein. I don't know. I get a lot of my stuff from Shein, so I can't bash it, but I don't like fast fashion. I'm trying not to shop on Shein anymore, but this is from H&M. Actually, I don't know if H&M is fast fashion. I mean, this was expensive, so I can't imagine, but like, I don't know, it's hard to keep up. But H&M, I got this at H&M. Also, I can't tell if I like my bangs, I can't tell. But I'm gonna go, because my throat really hurts. I love you guys, see you.